Trojan family, what's up? Welcome to the USC LAFB show here on the LAFB network. I'm your host, Ryan Dyrud. Hope everyone is doing well. Had a recruiting update a little bit earlier. I'll have another recruiting update probably first thing tomorrow morning when you wake up. Hopefully your commute, you can check it out then. But wanted for your evening listening to kind of talk about this Notre Dame situation. I know it's not exactly USC, but it does pertain to USC. Obviously, the rivalry with Notre Dame, and obviously just relevant with college football right now. And obviously, all of you probably know, but for those that don't, Notre Dame ends up missing out on the college football playoff. Miami gets in over them. That was the big debate for weeks. Should it be Miami? Should it be Notre Dame? Miami gets in. Notre Dame does not. And so Notre Dame immediately basically decides that they will not go to their bowl game. I think they were rumored to be with the Pop-Tarts Bowl and potentially play BYU, and they turned it down and ended their season. I mean, a lot to get into with that, and I'll tie it into USC, so don't worry, we're not just talking Notre Dame here. This ties into kind of USC and the future of this, and we've talked a lot through this season about this rivalry and should it go on? Obviously it should, but how it looks like going on and how can it benefit USC and be the best for USC. And so this situation actually, I think finally, I think the rest of college football kind of knew this anyway, but really opens the eyes to what USC and what me specifically, I'm not going to say all USC fans say this, but what I've been saying about Notre Dame and about this rivalry and about how Notre Dame has always been able to have their cake and eat it too. And they've been on this pedestal for decades of basically writing their own rule book and benefiting from it. And this is the first time that I can remember, maybe that's happened before, but certainly in the college football playoff era, where I can remember that it finally came back to bite them. And so we'll get into kind of why they didn't make the playoff and then just how laughable it is to bail on the bowl game. Laughable to me. And so I'll explain that why, and I obviously would love to get your comments. And I'm sure we will get some Notre Dame fans in here, as I always do, usually leaving very kind-hearted messages to me, but hey, I love to see them anyway, so please comment away, yell at me through your keyboard if you'd like. But first, so I believe, and this is not coming from someone that covers USC and someone that does not like Notre Dame. I actually have nothing against Notre Dame. I cover USC, there's a rivalry there, but I think Notre Dame is one of the storied programs in college football and is one of the great programs in college football. I do think the committee got this right. Where they were wrong is that they shouldn't have dangled the carrot basically since the rankings came out. Like when they first came out with the rankings and had Notre Dame, I think they've been at 10, but basically 9 or 10 in that range the entirety of the time they've done the CFP rankings. And that kind of led everyone to believe that Notre Dame was in. Obviously, everyone was debating on all channels, all networks and whatnot. But it was basically like, okay, they're probably in. They're not going to lose another game. And so it'd be really hard to all of a sudden have a team jump them. That's where they were wrong. And I said that in the beginning. Like when they first came out, it's like, okay, the College Football Playoff Committee is signaling here that as of now, they believe Notre Dame is a playoff team, and it's going to take a lot to jump them because without losing, it's hard to drop a team down. So I don't think they should. I said when it first came out, they should have been a fringe team, not basically a guaranteed team right off the bat. So that's where I think the committee was wrong. But the ultimate of getting the teams right, I think they did it right. Now, there's twofold to that, and this is a whole other conversation I'm not going to spend a ton of time on. But when you look at James Madison and Tulane, like obviously Notre Dame is a better team and should be in. USC is a better team and probably should be in at 9-3. It's not like USC had a terrible year. Like this whole Texas argument, like USC can make a lot of the same argument. You know, if you want to go strength of schedule, you know, maybe Texas has an upper hand there, but again, there's so many metrics you could go by in here. But there's a ton of teams that are obviously better than James Madison and Tulane, but that's not the way that the draw, I guess, was kind of created. It was created to give some G5 schools a chance, an opportunity to at least make it into the playoff. And, you know, you never know if maybe there's that Boise State, Oklahoma moment where the world gets shocked and one of these smaller programs just shocks the world. It's like a 99% chance that it will not happen more than one time every 50 years, but we saw it not that long ago in the Festival with the Statue of Liberty play and Boise State shocking Adrian Peterson, Bob Stoops, and the Sooners. So that's the idea behind it. That's a whole other debate. If we want to just say the 12 best teams, then yeah, you got to reformat it. There's other ways you can, I think, do it. I think I've said, hey, if we do have conference championships be the first round, include all the conferences in Power 4, Power 5, G, whatever you want to call it. All the conference championships, that's round one. Winner of that moves on. Then you start the seeding there based on strength of schedule or whatever, and you go. But again, whole other debate. So that's not what we're debating, though. Because there's going to be two or one at a minimum, but those G5 conference teams are going to get in. So Notre Dame, unfortunately, everyone believes they're better than James Madison and would probably boat race them. But you're going against the other 10 Power 4 teams. And in that instance, they didn't do enough and they don't play in a conference. So I think the committee got it right. When you look at their schedule, one ranked win, which was against USC at home by 10. It was a good win, right? USC was a good team this year. Still had some road woes. Still had some woes against, top 25 opponents. But overall, a good team. They finished 16th in the country. But that is it. That is the only quality win on Notre Dame's resume. And then their two losses, obviously, beginning of the year. One against Miami, who they put in with the head-to-head, same record. So, that's that. It's unfortunate for them. I get why, as a Notre Dame fan, you would be not just bummed, but upset. Especially the way Notre Dame is playing right now. I mean, they are playing really good. Like, let's not deny that. Like, they would be a team, I think, to be reckoned with in the playoff. So, but they get out. So, let's move on to the next point. The fact of then basically throwing a little temper tantrum, a little tirade, and deciding not to play in the bowl game is so laughable for a number of reasons. One, let's start with, and this is probably more the AD's decision than Marcus Freeman, but you know what? Marcus Freeman was consulted, you would think. If not, then I don't know how they're running things over there, but you would think that there was a conversation had between AD and head coaches if they wanted to play this game or not. And this is the same head coach that, said in regards to USC, but in sometimes others, like, we'll play anyone, anytime, anywhere. Apparently not. If it's not within their liking, apparently that's not the case. Because we already know they aren't agreeing to moving the USC game to the front of the schedule, which is what USC has been asking. Just like, hey, it's a non-conference game. Let's just play it like all other non-conference games at the beginning of the year. And let's just be very clear here. This whole they've got their schedule already done for 10 years. I mean, we've seen in the last 3 weeks, not just with Notre Dame, how many games are getting canceled and changed around. The SEC just added their 9th conference game, and we're seeing a litany of cancellations of non-conference opponents because of that. So it's not like they couldn't cancel one of these games and move it. It's not like they couldn't cancel the Purdue matchup if they really wanted to. If they act like they're such a power and have the pedestal, they can do whatever they want. I think they can do that. So the fact that play anyone, anytime, anywhere, apparently not. It's also, to me, just kind of bad management of your program. Like, these bowl games aren't what they used to be, but I think they are still something very important. It's gone are the days where, now everything's about the CFP. We know it well with USC, right? CFP or bust. You go 9-3. Remember this last time USC went, or not last time, but the last time they won the Rose Bowl, they went 9-3. But now 9-3 is considered not a good season because you didn't make the CFP, and I get that. I'm not refuting that. But everything is about the college football playoff now, that no one really cares about any of the other bowl games. So they don't have the same relevance and meaning of like, hey, it's a playoff game for a lot of programs. It doesn't mean that much anymore. A lot of guys opt out of it. If you're going to the draft, almost certainly you opt out of it, especially if you're going to be a top kind of third round pick, third and above. So it doesn't have that kind of relevance, but what it does have is you get all those extra practices. And in some instances, you get some young recruits that get to come in and participate in those practices. They can't play in the game, but they can be in the practices. So those are invaluable, getting those practice reps. And then B, you get live game action, competitive game action. It may not be the starting 22 players of each team that started the season, but these are still some good competitive games. It's just the younger guys get so many reps. This is essentially turned into a competitive spring game for the next season. And so while it really doesn't matter at the end of the day for the record and the fans maybe not care all that much about it, as a program, it is invaluable. And we saw just 2 years ago in the Holiday Bowl that no one cared about, but hey, Miller Moss, a star was born. 6 touchdowns, broke the Holiday record. That, USC fans might not agree with this now, but at the time that was like, okay, we found our quarterback. This is the quarterback of the future. We also saw Jacoby Lane come out. We saw Makai Lemon. We saw some guys on defense all of a sudden show some like, okay, we maybe have something going into next year on defense. So it's such a huge opportunity for development and for getting these young players reps and entering your offseason with some positive light. Now, if you lose, obviously that changes things, but you still are getting all that stuff on film. You're getting those reps. So win or loss, there's still value there going into the offseason. So to basically say, yeah, we didn't get in the playoffs, so we're done. We're over it. I think that's just silly. Now, is Marcus Freeman leaving and going to the NFL? I don't think that would be the reason for it, but maybe, you never know. Because most of the other teams that decided not to play in their bowl game or denied their invitation, were programs that lost their head coach to other programs. So they're shuffling their head coaches and yada, yada, and they're just like, we'll just focus on the offseason. So maybe he's going to the Giants. Who knows? But I don't know. I just think that's a very silly decision. And then the AD goes on the Dan Patrick show today and says, the damage has been done with the ACC, and it's going to be really hard to come back from. And kind of when pressed, like, well, what damage? And basically it was like, oh, well, the ACC seems like they were out to get us. They were really positioning Miami above us to make the CFP. Well, Miami's a full member of the conference. Notre Dame is not. They have this deal of like 5 or 6 games a year. All of their other programs outside of hockey are in the ACC, so I get that. But, again, not trying to sound like poo-pooing all on Notre Dame, but like I get, even though I didn't really hear much, but either way, I get a conference backing their full conference participant. Like if you're looking at the Big Ten and I don't know, we've seen it with USC, right? The Big Ten clearly still favors Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, Indiana, all of them over the 4 new members that have entered, and they're full members. And you see absolutely still the Big Ten still plays some favoritism towards their legacy programs. Like USC, it's going to be a while, I think, till the Big Ten truly respects USC, and they're a full member. That brings in a lot of revenue. Notre Dame is like a half member with really weird, stipulations and whatnot. So regardless of how true it is of them, throwing Notre Dame under the bus, even if it is fully true, like, well, yeah, they're going after their full member who's been a member forever. So last thing I'll end with this, and comment below. Just curious your thoughts always on these kind of situations. But I've been saying now that I fully believe that we are going to start seeing big programs not scheduling Notre Dame. And, we've talked a lot, like Notre Dame needs USC a lot more than USC Notre Dame's. I fully believe that. And that doesn't mean I don't love the rivalry. That doesn't mean I don't want to see it continue. That doesn't mean me personally I'm fine with it continuing in October or November. Like the way it is, I'm okay with that. I've just said it is kind of malpractice for USC to continue that because it doesn't benefit them at all. Like we've seen with these CFP rankings, play 3 cupcakes that you're guaranteed to win 9 games in your or win 8 games in your conference, and you're in the CFP. There's no benefit to playing a tough non-conference opponent. Just ask Texas, played Ohio State. Like no one's going to do it anymore. No one. So Notre Dame is going to have a much harder time scheduling big-time Power 4 programs. We're already seeing some starting to cancel on them, and I don't think we'll see many more continue to schedule them. And I know everyone likes to claim, oh, well, look, we got Clemson for the next 10 years and, as part of our ACC deal. Cool. But, USC was their only big win on the schedule this year. Next year, their schedule is almost as bad, if not worse. 2027, not exactly a gauntlet of a schedule. So less big programs are going to schedule them. And it's going to really force Notre Dame to finally be like, all right, we may have to fully join a conference. And this year, this decision might just expedite that process. Because up till now, they've gotten in every year, doing what they want to do. They've lost to NIU and ended up, not saying they shouldn't have been in. They were one of the best teams in college football, but you lose to NIU, you still get into the playoff, and then you end up going to the championship game. This is the first year where basically the committee was like, yeah, your schedule wasn't good enough. You played 3 good teams, and you lost to 2 of them. So it's going to really force their hand, and I think the rest of college football is finally being like, why? We're not going to bow down to them. Let them schedule whenever they want, whoever they want, and then not have to play a conference game and get into the playoff. Why are we going to abide by that? So I've been saying it, less and less Power 4 teams are going to schedule them. We're going to see it happen more often than not. And this was the first domino of them not getting in, where they're going to have to be like, and if they're saying that their relationship with the ACC is bad, we'll see. They might be a Big Ten team in the next 5 years, which makes a lot of sense. That's what everyone's been asking. Then the USC rivalry in Notre Dame continues. They're in the Big Ten. I think that's better for everyone. Better for everyone. So anyway, just curious your guys' thoughts. Jump on here. I know it wasn't totally USC, but it does relate to USC, obviously being a rival and obviously how they will schedule moving forward. And we'll see if we get this game actually scheduled next year. I know it's still on some sites. I don't think it's officially scheduled for next year. People are still putting it in like the opponent's matchup, but I don't think there's been an official agreement to play this game next year. So we'll see if USC Notre Dame even happens next year. But if you're Notre Dame, and you see what just happened, you're going back to Gen Con and USC like, okay, we'll play at the beginning of the year. We need you next year. We're not going through this season again and not making the playoff with what just happened. So I would be very surprised if all of a sudden Notre Dame doesn't go to USC and say, okay, all right, we give in, at least for this year. We don't have to sign a long-term deal at this situation, but at least for next year, because you look at that schedule next year, even if they go undefeated, that's going to be tough to put them in my opinion, but they probably would if they go undefeated. But anyway, so let me know your thoughts. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to the USC LAFB channel. We certainly appreciate it. Become a member, get you membership perks with merchandise discounts, plus free sign up over on our message board, which is always free. Go to lfbnetwork.com, check out that message board. Let's keep building and growing this thing. So appreciate you all. Everyone enjoy your evening. See you bright and early tomorrow morning, right back here on USC LAFB. As always, family, fight on. Hey, Trojan family, thank you so much for hanging out and watching the USC LAFB show. Before you go, let me tell you quickly about our friends over at Sleeper. Go right now, download the Sleeper app. It's the #1 sports app, not just for season-long fantasy, but they've got live pickers, they've got live stat updates, they've got a chat that you can chat with other users, plus the daily pick'em, which is a blast, or daily fantasy, whatever you want to call it. You go and pick 2 to 8 players across any sports. If you're talking USC, go choose Jaden Mayava in his next matchup. Pick more or less passing yards, more or less touchdowns. You stack those, and you can win real money. When you go to make your first deposit, make sure you use our promo code USCLAFB. You're going to get a match deposit up to $100. Put in $100, you get $100 free to play with from Sleeper. Put in 10, they'll match you that $10. So now you're sitting at $20 to play with. But also right now, for any new users, No deposit required. You get $20 free entry. You can stack both. You can get the $20 for free. Go make a deposit. Use USC LAFB. And now you've got a bunch of free money to play with right there on the Sleeper app. Check it out, Trojan family. And when you do, tell them the guys at the USC LAFB sent you.